All right, ladies and gents, back from checking out the S26 Ultra. Oh, I should take these off. I don't need those reflections in your face. But yes, back from seeing the S26 Ultra, I have a lot to tell you. We have a lot to break down. That privacy display, whoa, what a feature. We got to break that down. So let's jump right in. Now let's start first with the design. As soon as you pick up the phone, the first thing I noticed was that it was lighter, to the point where I literally asked someone, I was like, hey, is this the Plus and not the Ultra? But it was the Ultra, and I'm really surprised by the weight. It has dropped a bit. I don't have the exact numbers, but I'm going to guess it's around the 214, 215 grams, which is a significant drop from last year, even more significant from the S24 Ultra. The next thing is that titanium is gone. Now, whether you want to call this copying Apple or whether you want to call it cost cutting, I think it's the latter. But they did tell us that it comes with armor aluminum, which is basically better with drops on the corners and a lighter material, but they claim that it's still pretty strong. I'm not going to talk too much about it because, well, I haven't really dropped the phone. I haven't really tested it, so I don't know how it'll survive. We will wait, obviously, for Zach himself to tell us how it is on generating everything. But moving along, it is also thinner at just 7.5 millimeters. Again, as soon as I picked it up, I was like, wow, it doesn't feel as large as it is, considering it is the largest in the entire series. As far as the glass goes, on the front, we have Corning's Gorilla Glass Armor 2, and on the back, we have Victus 2. On the corners of the body, we do have slightly more aggressive curves, which I personally don't mind. But on the overall, the device is still flat. The display is flat, which is a huge thumbs up from my side. We still don't have any sort of Qi 2 magnets on the back, which I'm really disappointed by. I don't understand why Android brands just aren't taking up this awesome technology that is the magnets on the back. Like, as an Apple user, I cannot live without my MagSafe, and I really need Android to get on board with this. But anyway, moving ahead. Actually, sorry, before we go any further ahead, a lot of people end up asking that, hey, how do you have access to the S26 Ultra already, and so on and so forth? Your channel's too small, da-da-da-da-da. Let me give you a bit of an introduction if this is your first time to my channel. My name is Danish. I've been in the tech content creation space for over a decade. I used to be a journalist for about 7 years, and then I kind of moved into this space. And well, I have a pretty good reputation in the market, so I guess people trust me. And you should too. But coming right back to the S26 Ultra. As far as the display goes, we still have a 10-bit display on the Ultra. We also have something called upscaler. Now, I did not find a way to show this to you, but very simply speaking, the hardware itself upscales footage that it finds to be low res compared to its display and resolution. A feature I'd like to see in action. I'm not sure how it's going to look. Will it oversaturate and stuff like that? But I just wanted to mention that that feature is there, and well, we'll take a look at it once we have the device for review. All right, now we can't discuss the display without discussing privacy display, and this thing blew me away. Like, I lost my mind when I saw it, because genuinely such a useful feature integrated with hardware. Let's explain. So you know how you guys buy the screen protectors that kind of make the display not visible from any sides? Yeah, I hate those. I think those are the worst. But that's a different story because I hate cases and screen protectors in general. But I do understand the need for privacy. And therefore, what Samsung has done is they've created pixels in such a way where what the phone does is that if you enable what's called privacy display, let's say you do it for the whole display, what this will do is it'll enable only the pixels that are facing you and facing your eyes, not the pixels that shine light outward, and therefore people looking at the phone from the side will not be able to see it, and I think that is brilliant. But to top that up even more, what they've done is you can either activate it for specific apps, you can activate it when you're putting in your PIN, you can activate it even just for notifications, so that if someone's around you, they can't see what notifications you're getting, and I think this is phenomenal. This feature alone to me is the best thing I saw at today's pre-briefing for the S26 series and everything else that was announced. If you'd like a detailed video to understand more about this feature, do let me know in the comments. The privacy display is one of those features you just have to see in real life. It is unbelievable. Like, even if you see in the sample footage that I'm showing you, it is brilliant. It is absolutely brilliant. The minute your eyes are off center, the display starts disappearing, and that is just so useful in real life. Like, well done, Samsung. Like, mad credits for creating this. Obviously, as we go through the video, if you have questions that you want me to check out, because by the time this video goes up, I will hopefully be a few days into reviewing the device already. So let me know what you want me to check out because, well, that's what I'm here for, right? Now, one more thing before we move away from the body is that we do have a redesigned vapor chamber. I don't have any accurate numbers on how much better it is. Hopefully by now you've seen it in the presentation, but again, thought I'd mention it. Now, next up, let's talk about the processor. As far as the processor goes, we have the Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Gen 5 Elite for Galaxy, which is very important to note because, well, Samsung claims that these processors are made specifically for their devices. I personally have never noticed anything so drastic. As you guys know, I don't do benchmarks. That's not my thing. I'm just talking about the feel of using the UI and the phone itself. But hey, again, it's great. But that being said, if you're considering the Plus or the regular S26, you should know that those guys will be coming with the Exynos 2600. And that is a conversation for another day. As far as storage goes, we will be going up to 1 terabyte and RAM will be at 16 GB for the S26 Ultra. Now, as far as battery goes, if by chance you're under a rock, there is a huge conversation about battery sizes, especially in the Android space. We have devices like, for example, the Oppo Find X9 Pro, which has a ginormous 7300 milliamp battery. Now, that is because it uses silicon carbon, which is a whole other technology, which allows it to be bigger batteries and slower. But brands like Apple, Samsung, Pixel have stayed away from that. The Samsung S26 Ultra comes with the same 5000 milliamp battery that it had previously. I'm not gonna say that that's a problem because I think 5000 is more than enough for a beefy smartphone to get through the day. But I do feel that this is probably the last year Samsung can have a 5000 milliamp battery. I think that by next year, it will be a bad thing that they have a 5000 milliamp battery because too much of the Android space will have moved to much larger batteries. Like Honor is already at 10,000. So we've got some work to do there as well. But finally, we get an update in charging speed. So now we have a 60-watt charger on the Ultra, which will take you from 0 to 75% in 30 minutes. Again, there are Android phones which are way faster at 80 watts, 100 watts, and so on. But the fact that Samsung has updated is good news in my opinion. Now, before we go into the camera itself, as you can see, I have just crossed the 50,000 mark, which is not enough for me right now. 50,000 was my goal for last year. This year, I want to go way further. So don't forget to support the channel in any way, shape, or form. Following and subscribing obviously helps a lot, but comments, shares, anything that you can do to let YouTube know that you like what you're watching would be extremely helpful. But carrying on. Now, camera is an odd one. Now, on paper, there's almost no change to the camera when it comes to the resolution, to the megapixels. So we still have a 200 megapixel wide, 10 megapixel telephoto, 50 megapixel periscope telephoto, and a 50 megapixel ultra wide. But what they have done this year is that as far as the periscope telephoto and the wide go, we do now have better aperture. So the wide goes to f1.4 and the periscope goes to f2.8, which means that it can take in more light, which should lead to better images. But I'm curious on this one. Do you guys consider this an upgrade or an incremental one? Because I think it's an incremental upgrade. When it comes to the selfie camera was where I saw my biggest disappointment. It is an absolute no-go that a flagship Samsung device still has a 12 megapixel camera with an f2.2 aperture, which is only 26 millimeters wide. It's an absolute no-go for me. That has to change. It has to become at least a 32 or a 50 megapixel camera by next year. And I don't just mean that the resolution, the megapixels have to increase, but I also think that considering what Apple has done with the selfie camera, where you can shoot both vertically and horizontally and given it a square lens and all those things, have to happen at Samsung as well. All right, now as far as samples that I've got are concerned, listen, I'm not going to talk about the quality at all because that's not fair to Samsung after having spent almost no time with them and quickly taking these pictures in just a matter of a few minutes, but I will show them to you. And first and foremost, we've got some zoom shots. Now, this is obviously ultra wide, then we've got the wide, then we go into 3x, then we go into 5x, 10x, and we zoom in further. Apart from that, I took some shots right out the window. We've got those as well. well. Some decent shots, nice color, pretty good representation of the day. We've got 100x zoom as well. This is what it was, wide, and then I zoomed in on that 100x, so that was there as well. Then we've also got a new feature called horizontal lock, and I don't understand why they didn't call it horizon lock, because that's what it's called throughout the industry. But they were unsure if they were the first. They aren't. Motorola had this, I think, 2 years ago, but I'm very happy to have seen it. If you don't know what horizon lock is, in very, very simple terms, you could take a camera, you could switch that on, you could twist the camera around, even spin it completely, face it downward, and so on and so forth, and the horizon would stay leveled. It is really good to take nice stable footage, and here's a sample I have of that. So if you'll notice, I went up the stairs and I came down and I'm moving the phone all around. But apart from the tilts on the vertical angle, nothing else is being registered on the sides. And I think that that is so incredibly impressive. Now, thanks to the new aperture, we obviously have new low light features, and Samsung claims it's much better. They did have a small little scenario where we could try it out. I'm not going to comment on it because it was just one little scenario, but the speed of capture was pretty good and the result was okay. But again, not commenting on it. We'll check this out in my review. Speaking of the review, let me know what you want to check out as far as the camera is concerned. Hopefully get your comments in ASAP so that I can have those in my review, because I want to post the review as fast as possible once I have the device, hopefully. Now, how can there have been a smartphone presentation and not discussed AI? So I'm going to talk about some of the things that they showed us and whether they were cool or not. But first and foremost, talking about the camera itself, when it comes to photos, you can create and change things up. One thing that I found was super cool was that in this image that I've taken of myself, right, I would go down into the settings, go into the AI settings, and then I could, with a text prompt, edit the photo where I could say, hey, change the color of the t-shirt. Now, this is the very t-shirt that I'm wearing right now, and the conversion that took place was really, really cool. Not only was I able to do it into the color, it kept the little icons on the t-shirt as well, and that was so impressive. Now, I think that editing with just text prompts is going to be amazing for photos. They even showed us some other things which I'm not sure if I have B-roll for, but basically they showed us a way where, let's say you sit under a lamp that's not switched on. You can use the phone to switch on the lamp, and not only would that light come, it would also change the characteristics of your face based on the fact that light is shining from above you. And I think that that editing is going to really help people out, because yeah, like, it's not everyone's cup of tea, and anything that could make it into a text prompt and make it easier, awesome. The next thing I really liked, which is a feature from last year, but it's getting a huge expansion, is audio eraser. Now, last year, audio eraser was basically that you record any footage and then you can edit the audio accordingly, selecting just the voice or just the audio in the background and so on and so forth. At CES, they showed this on the TVs, where let's say you're watching a football game, you can remove the audio of the noise behind and have only the commentary, or vice versa. Now you can do this audio eraser on your phone, on your social media apps. So check this sample out and we'll discuss it in a sec.
I have that lemon.
Now, the cool thing here is that I'm able to go onto socials, watch a video, and there's too much background noise, and I'm able to remove that and isolate the voice. That is incredible. The amount of times I'm watching videos, I'm just like, oh my God, why didn't these people use a mic? I don't need to whine about that anymore. And that is a feature I'm really impressed by. The next feature to be discussed is Now Nudge. Now, this one I have no footage for because it needs to be used for a few days, but very simply speaking, your Now Brief understands what your calendar and so on, and gives you little nudges while you type. So let's say you're chatting with somebody and someone says, hey, you want to meet up at 5 p.m. The Now Nudge will kind of will pop up in the keyboard, letting you know that you're busy at 5 p.m. and suggest another alternative time. Small contextual things like that, which could potentially be useful if you're using all the Samsung services that kind of need it. Then, of course, we have call screening, which has worked for a while. I have it on my Z Fold 7 as well. It does have some updates and it does better understanding and so on and so forth. It will work here in this region. So personally, again, a good feature to have. I think you should use it if you have the phone. But if you don't know what it is, very, very simply speaking, you get spam calls, you click on call screen and it'll screen the call for you, and you'll get a written version of it on your screen telling you what the call's about, and you can even reject the call if you want. Alright, so that's about it for what I have from the S26 Ultra right now. Now, I might have missed out things because of the fact that this is recorded way before the presentation that's going on right now, but I do think that the S26 Ultra is going to shape up to be a great smartphone for this year, very simply because of that one privacy display. Because the rest of it is already tried and tested, right? The camera is slightly better, the battery is the same, but you have better charging. The display is the same, but you have a better protection. The body, that's up to you guys. But on the overall, I think that there is potential here for what could be the best smartphone of the year. There's still a lot more to go, and we'll see how that turns out. But I want to know what you guys think. Incremental upgrade or all the right tweaks to kind of take it to the next level? Let me know in the comments. But I'll be back soon with much more content from the Samsung launch. Don't forget to check out my socials. I have way more content over there as well. But until next time, my name is Danesh, and I will definitely see you soon.